Welcome to NARmovies. We are Nathan and Rose.
And the movie is It's Such a Beautiful Day. So this was definitely one of the more odd and out there movies that we've watched so far. First of all, it was like basically a stick figure, and it was about his extreme psychosis that he was going through. He has some kind of sickness, like a tumor or something, but basically you kind of see the whole movie through his eyes and this main character, Bill, and it's really interesting how things just kind of start jumping around and they get kind of trippy in a way. Like, you start just like not understanding things or not being able to hear the dialogue. It's very interesting.
I thought the movie worked as a really cool way of kind of showing what having a severe mental disability could be like.
Definitely.
Just how confusing and random, but at the same time like emotional overload and like sensory overload in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So in that way I thought it was really cool. However, for a movie, I found it kind of lacking. I was expecting a little bit more. I found myself kind of wanting like scenes and, development, and it would be like every sentence there was a different thing to look at, and so you could never like really for the entire hour. It was kind of like that.
There wasn't much connection for the storyline, which in an artistic sense kind of makes sense for the movie. You know, he's constantly losing his memory and getting worse and worse into this mental disease, and so it's like I can almost see it as in like it's a crappy movie, but like in an artistic sense it's supposed to be. So it was kind of interesting in that way, but it did kind of go along a very basic plot line or whatever, where like he's kind of
a very simple format.
Yeah, I think it's like over like a year's time where he's like kind of getting sick, going to the hospital, and then it goes and shows a little bit of his history, which I thought was interesting, and kind of making a note of how mental illness can be genetic. And so it talked about like how his grandma like wanted to kill him all the time and just had these urges, and like how his mom had problems, and his mom had problems and had been told that she shouldn't have children, and he finds this out on the at her death, reading in her whole medical records. And it's kind of like interesting seeing just this kind of progression of their kind of mental illnesses and then what his ends up being.
Yeah. Like I said, I do really like how it kind of portrayed that aspect. I was expecting a little more. It was animated by Don Hertzfeldt, who the very first time I heard of him was back when I was in middle school. Rejected came out. It was like one of the biggest internet sensations, just kind of similar to this movie, like this collection of like goofy little animated, sometimes kind of dark or gory scenes. The famous line is like, "My spoon is too big."
My spoon is too big.
Yeah. So anyway, that ended up, because that did so well on the internet, I think that won like an Academy Award. And Don Hertzfeldt, he has the most movies that have ever been a part of the Sundance Film Festival.
Really?
He holds that record. He has like 7 movies that have been at Sundance, so he's the most. He's also the only person who has won the short film prize twice. Nice. Sundance Short Film Prize. So like as an animator, he's very well respected, which is, and has like a lot of credibility to his name, which is funny because his animating style is very simple stick figures.
Yeah.
Everything is just like black lines on a white background. That's all that he ever does, is just
it's still very intriguing.
Very simple. Yeah.
This movie almost seemed more like an art piece as opposed to an entertainment piece.
And that's what a lot of his stuff is. Like I said, those short little bits, you're not going to get like long scenes or like scenes that really tie together at all.
For sure.
So it actually kind of worked really well with his style, this format of describing this mental disorder. I don't know the background, if he has a family member or he himself has any kind of mental disability that he is trying to
maybe where he
connect
got the inspiration from, or got kind of the little connections.
Yeah, but when I saw it was an hour-long Don Hertzfeldt piece, I was really excited. I was, thinking that it was going to be more like a full-featured movie, but it really was like a very long episode of Rejected, or like a very long, compilation of these tiny little scenes and little bits.
Yeah.
Every individual thing was really artsy. The way he would like put his animation style on top of like actual real pictures or video clips.
Yeah,
with, like,
I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
Which was really cool, but like I said, I found myself wanting more of a story when I watched it.
Yeah.
I honestly, towards the end, was even getting a little sleepy, started dozing off a little bit. I think my brain was just really trying to grasp onto something, but that was just for a few seconds here or there. I definitely caught the ending of it. I thought it yeah, it was beautiful in certain ways in the way that it worked.
I did really want to talk about the end because, like we said, it's this man. He has a mental illness, but it's also something that's killing him. It's something that's making him like physically sick. And at the end, he kind of goes off into this field and he's lying down and he's like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna die now. I'm not gonna die." And then he sits up. I think he does die, and he doesn't. They don't directly say, or he doesn't directly say it in the movie. But I think he does die because then the rest of the movie is him living forever. And I think it's really interesting because I've heard that some cultures or some people who have kind of like died but then come back, some people say that there's like this part of the brain that makes you think you're actually experiencing eternity. And that's kind of what maybe some people have as their afterlife.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. You follow his like kind of chaotic, hectic life, and then when he finally he dies, but then he's like, oh no, wait, I can't die here. And then he's like, he went on to live for 100 years and watched all of his friends grow up and grow old, and then he lived on for another 1,000 years.
And then he dated girls and other girls, and then he outlived humans and outlived the earth and outlived the sun.
Yeah, and he lived forever. Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting way
until the inevitable like heat death of the universe.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting way to wrap it up. That it kind of in a weird way like gave it a happy ending because his life was so chaotic and tumultuous, and then he lives forever and gets to date all these girls and like do all this cool fun stuff for eternity, even though he was actually probably just dying.
But I really did like the ending. I thought it was a very artsy way to end a movie that was about someone struggling with mental illness, and you know, and it kind of goes along with the title of the movie. It's such a beautiful day, and it was just kind of, you know, he was lying in the meadow in a beautiful day, dying.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for watching. Let us know if you watched the movie, if you liked it down below. Also, we always pick movies on Netflix because it's just easier for you guys to watch the movie and then see our review of it. So let us know in the comments what movie, if there's a specific movie that you would like us to review for next Tuesday. We usually watch the movie the weekend before this review comes out on Tuesday. So let us know sometime this week, before this next weekend, what the next movie should be. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.